Shedeur Sanders walked into the NFL as a rookie surrounded by doubters. But during one explosive game against the Titans, he went head-to-head with one of the league's toughest defenders, Jeffery Simmons, and what happened next shocked everyone. Trash talk, big plays, and a moment that made veterans admit one thing: this kid might be special. The moment that sparked all this drama started during a regular season matchup between the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans. On paper, it looked like just another tough NFL game, but for rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, it was something much bigger. It was a chance to prove that he actually belonged in the league. Coming into that game, the pressure surrounding Sanders was intense. Ever since he entered the NFL, critics had been questioning almost everything about him. Some analysts believed he was overhyped because of his famous father, Deion Sanders. Others argued that his college success wouldn't translate to the professional level. And then there were those who simply thought he wasn't ready for the speed and brutality of the NFL. So when the Browns lined up against the Titans, a lot of eyes were on Sanders. Fans weren't just watching the scoreboard, they were watching him. Every throw, every decision, every reaction on the field was being judged in real time. But standing across from him was one of the most intimidating defenders in the league, Jeffery Simmons. The Titans' defensive tackle had already built a reputation as one of the NFL's most aggressive and dominant players. Simmons wasn't just big and powerful, he thrived on physical battles and mind games. For a rookie quarterback, going up against a defender like Simmons could easily turn into a nightmare. From the very start of the game, the Titans' defense made it clear they were going to test Sanders. The pressure came fast, pass rushers collapsed the pocket, hits came a little harder, and the Titans' defense tried to rattle the young quarterback early. That's something veteran defenses often do to rookies. If they can shake a young quarterback's confidence early, the rest of the game usually becomes much easier. The idea is simple: make the rookie uncomfortable, force mistakes, and watch the game spiral out of control. But something about Sanders felt different that night. Instead of looking nervous, he looked confident. Instead of playing cautiously, he seemed willing to challenge the defense. And more importantly, he didn't seem intimidated by the physical presence of Simmons or the aggressive Titans defense. In fact, as the game continued, it started to become clear that Sanders wasn't just trying to survive the moment, he was embracing it. What nobody realized at the time was that this game was about to turn into one of the most talked about matchups of the season. Because before the night was over, a heated exchange between Sanders and Simmons would turn a normal NFL game into a battle of pride, swagger, and respect. As the game between the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans started heating up, the energy inside the stadium quickly changed. What began as a normal NFL matchup slowly turned into something far more intense. And at the center of that tension were two players: rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders and Titans defensive star Jeffery Simmons. Early in the game, Simmons made one of those plays that defensive linemen live for. The Browns were trying to establish momentum on offense when Simmons burst through the line and delivered a powerful tackle for loss. It was the kind of play that instantly fires up a defense. Titans players celebrated around him while the crowd reacted loudly. But the moment didn't end there. As Simmons got up from the tackle, he could hear the Browns crowd letting him have it. Fans were yelling from the stands, clearly unhappy with the aggressive hit. Instead of ignoring it, Simmons leaned into the moment. Cameras later caught him gesturing toward the crowd, almost inviting them to keep talking. That's when the intensity started rising. Not long after that play, another moment occurred that really got people talking. Simmons came flying toward Sanders during a pass play and delivered a high hit that many fans believed should have drawn a penalty flag. The officials didn't call anything, but the stadium erupted in frustration. Browns fans were furious, booing loudly while Titans defenders walked back to their side of the field. For a rookie quarterback, moments like that can be intimidating. Getting hit by one of the strongest defensive players in the league is never comfortable, especially when the game is already getting emotional. But something surprising happened. Instead of backing down or avoiding confrontation, Sanders stayed calm. He didn't look shaken. In fact, he appeared even more locked in. According to Simmons later, that was the moment he realized the rookie wasn't going to play scared. The tension between the two players began building with every snap. Simmons kept bringing pressure from the defensive line, trying to disrupt the Browns' offense. Meanwhile, Sanders continued to stand tall in the pocket, delivering passes and refusing to show any fear. And behind the scenes, the verbal exchanges had already started. Simmons later admitted on a podcast that once the competitive talk began between them, neither player was planning to stay quiet. For him, that's just part of football. The NFL is built on competition, emotion, and players trying to get inside each other's heads. But what Simmons didn't expect was how quickly Sanders would respond. Because just a few plays later, the rookie quarterback would deliver a moment that completely flipped the energy of the game, and it would spark one of the most memorable exchanges of the season. By the time the tension had fully built between the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans, everyone in the stadium could feel it. The hits were getting harder, the crowd was louder, and the energy between rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders and Titans defensive star Jeffery Simmons had turned into a personal battle. Simmons had already made his presence felt earlier in the game. The big tackle for loss and the controversial hit on Sanders had fired up the Titans' defense and the crowd at the same time. It looked like the veteran defender was trying to send a message to the rookie quarterback, "Welcome to the NFL." But Sanders wasn't interested in backing down. On the next important drive, the Browns' offense lined up with urgency. Sanders looked calm in the pocket, scanning the defense while the Titans tried to bring pressure again. The play developed quickly and Sanders fired a sharp pass down the field. Moments later, the Browns found the end zone. The stadium exploded with noise as the touchdown was completed. Browns players celebrated while Titans defenders walked back toward the sideline. But what happened immediately after the score is what turned this moment into one of the most talked about interactions of the game. Instead of simply celebrating with his teammates, Sanders turned and looked directly toward Simmons. Then he walked right up to him. According to Simmons himself, Sanders made sure the veteran defender saw the celebration. He gestured toward him, letting him know exactly who had just responded to all the pressure and trash talk from earlier in the game. It wasn't disrespectful, but it was definitely bold. For a rookie quarterback to walk up to one of the most feared defensive tackles in the league and celebrate right in front of him takes serious confidence. Most young players would avoid that kind of confrontation, especially against a veteran like Simmons. But Sanders didn't hesitate. Later, Simmons admitted that moment flipped a switch for him. He said when Sanders celebrated in his face after the touchdown, his first reaction was basically, "All right, now we're really doing this." From that point forward, the competition between them became non-stop. Simmons said every time he got near Sanders after that play, he made sure to remind the rookie he was still there. Little bumps, quick words, constant energy, it wasn't personal, it was just football. And that's when Simmons realized something important. The rookie quarterback standing across from him wasn't intimidated by the moment at all. In fact, Sanders seemed to thrive in it. Instead of shrinking under the pressure of a veteran defense, he leaned right into the chaos. And in that moment, Simmons began to understand why so many people around the league believed this young quarterback might already have the mentality of a future star. After the intense exchange during the game between the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans, one thing became very clear to everyone watching. Rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders was not playing like a typical first-year player. Most rookies in the NFL enter the league with one main goal: survive. The speed of the game is faster, the defenders are stronger, and the pressure from fans and media can be overwhelming. Because of that, many young quarterbacks try to stay quiet. They focus on avoiding mistakes rather than challenging veterans. But Sanders didn't approach the game that way. Throughout the matchup, Titans defensive star Jeffery Simmons kept bringing pressure from the defensive line. He was trying to disrupt the Browns' offense, hit the quarterback, and force the rookie into making bad decisions. That's a strategy defensive veterans often use against young quarterbacks. If they can shake a rookie's confidence early, the rest of the game usually becomes much easier. However, Sanders responded in a completely different way. Instead of backing down or trying to avoid confrontation, he kept competing with confidence. Even after taking hard hits and hearing constant chatter from the Titans' defense, he continued playing aggressively. He stood in the pocket, made his throws, and didn't let the moment intimidate him. And the trash talk didn't slow him down either. According to Simmons, the verbal exchanges between them continued throughout the game. Every time the defensive tackle got close to the quarterback, there were a few words exchanged. For Simmons, that kind of interaction is normal in football. It's part of the mental battle that happens between players on the field. What impressed him, though, was how the rookie handled it. Most young quarterbacks would avoid that situation entirely. They might ignore the defender or try to walk away from the confrontation, but Sanders didn't do that. When Simmons talked, Sanders talked back. When the Titans' defense tried to intimidate him, he stayed confident. That's when Simmons started to realize something about the rookie. Sanders wasn't just talented, he was fearless. Later, Simmons admitted that this kind of attitude is rare for a young quarterback. The NFL is full of experienced defenders who have spent years learning how to mentally break rookies, but Sanders showed he wasn't going to be pushed around. For the Titans defender, that moment revealed something important. The young quarterback had the mindset that many veterans respect the most, the willingness to compete with anyone, no matter how experienced they are. And sometimes in the NFL, that mentality can matter just as much as talent. As the battle continued between the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans, the tension between rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders and Titans defensive star Jeffery Simmons kept building. Every snap felt more intense than the last, and both players were fully locked into the competition. Then came a moment that fans would replay again and again. Late in the game, the Browns lined up for another crucial offensive play. The Titans' defense prepared to bring pressure, hopping to force Sanders into a mistake. Simmons was right in the middle of the defensive line, ready to break through the pocket and make life difficult for the young quarterback. But the play didn't go the way the Titans expected. As the ball was snapped, Sanders quickly moved within the pocket while scanning the field. The protection shifted, and for a brief moment, Simmons tried to change direction to get closer to the quarterback. That's when the unexpected happened. During the movement of the play, Simmons lost his balance and ended up on the ground. It was one of those moments that happens in football sometimes. A defender tries to adjust quickly and slips or gets knocked slightly off balance. But when it happens in the middle of a big play, it can instantly become a highlight for the opposing team. Fans in the stadium immediately noticed. As Simmons hit the turf, the crowd reacted loudly. From the stands, it looked like the veteran defender had been completely taken out of the play while Sanders remained standing and confident in the pocket. Cameras later showed the moment clearly, and it quickly became one of the most talked about clips from the game. For a brief second, it looked like Sanders had completely won that exchange. However, the play didn't end perfectly for the rookie quarterback. Trying to make something spectacular happen, Sanders attempted a risky throw down the field. Instead of simply throwing the ball away or taking the safe option, he tried to force a big play. The pass ended up being intercepted by the Titans' defense. It was a reminder of something that often happens with confident young quarterbacks. Sometimes their belief in their abilities pushes them to attempt plays that veterans might avoid. Still, the moment of Simmons falling during the play stuck with fans. Even though the possession didn't end the way the Browns hoped, that brief sequence showed both sides of Sanders' personality on the field, the fearless confidence that excites fans and the aggressive mindset that sometimes leads to risky decisions. And for Simmons, it was just another chapter in a game that had already turned into a personal battle between two highly competitive players. After the intense battle between the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans finally came to an end, many fans were still talking about the heated exchanges between rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders and Titans defensive star Jeffery Simmons. Throughout the game, the two had gone back and forth with big plays, trash talk, and physical competition. It looked like the kind of rivalry that could easily turn personal. But what Simmons said after the game surprised a lot of people. Instead of criticizing the rookie quarterback or dismissing his behavior, Simmons actually showed a lot of respect for Sanders. Speaking later about the game, he made it clear that the competition between them was never meant to be personal. To him, it was simply part of football, two players pushing each other during the heat of battle. In fact, Simmons went even further than that. He openly admitted that he respected the way Sanders handled himself on the field. According to Simmons, the rookie didn't act like someone who was scared of the moment. Even while dealing with a tough defensive front and constant pressure, Sanders continued to compete with confidence. That's something veteran defenders notice immediately. Players like Simmons have faced countless young quarterbacks over the years. Some rookies struggle under pressure. Others become hesitant after taking a few hard hits. But occasionally, a rookie shows a different kind of mentality, one that suggests they might become something special in the league. Simmons believed Sanders showed that mentality during their matchup. He even made a statement that caught the attention of many fans and analysts. While discussing the Browns' quarterback, Simmons said that Sanders already looked like someone who could become a star in the NFL. For a defensive veteran known for his toughness, that kind of praise carries serious weight. Simmons also revealed that he had been familiar with Sanders long before this game. Back when Sanders was playing college football under his father, Deion Sanders, Simmons had been paying attention to his development. Watching him grow as a player gave Simmons an early sense that the young quarterback had real potential. So when he finally faced Sanders on an NFL field, he wasn't completely surprised by the confidence the rookie showed. Still, experiencing it firsthand made a bigger impression. The back-and-forth competition during the game showed Simmons exactly what kind of player Sanders was becoming, someone who wasn't afraid to challenge veterans and compete at the highest level. And sometimes in the NFL, the respect of your opponent says more than any statistic ever could. When a proven defensive star like Jeffery Simmons openly acknowledges a rookie's potential, it's often a sign that the young player might truly have a bright future ahead. After the intense matchup between the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans, the emotions that had built up during the game slowly began to cool down. Throughout the night, rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders and Titans defensive star Jeffery Simmons had gone back and forth with physical plays, trash talk, and competitive energy. From the outside, it might have looked like the two players had developed a serious rivalry. But once the final whistle blew, the tone between them changed completely. That's one of the unique things about football. During the game, players treat every snap like a battle. They compete aggressively, talk trash, and try to mentally overpower their opponent. But once the game is over, that same intensity often turns into mutual respect. And that's exactly what happened between Sanders and Simmons. After the game, the two players spoke with each other and cleared the air. According to Sanders, the trash talk during the game was never meant to be personal. He explained that he usually doesn't go out of his way to disrespect other players. In fact, he said he only responds when someone else starts the conversation first. From his perspective, the exchange with Simmons was simply part of the competitive atmosphere on the field. Sanders even admitted that he enjoyed that kind of energy during games. Football, after all, is a sport built on emotion and intensity. Players are pushing themselves to the limit physically and mentally, so moments of trash talk and competitive celebration are often part of the experience. Simmons seemed to feel the same way. Despite the heated moments during the game, the Titans defender made it clear that he respected Sanders' attitude and confidence. In fact, Simmons later said that playing against competitors like Sanders makes the game more enjoyable. When both players are fully invested in the competition, it raises the level of intensity for everyone on the field. The respect between them became even more visible later when the two crossed paths again at the Pro Bowl. Instead of the tension that existed during the Browns-Titans matchup, the atmosphere was completely different. The two players were seen talking and joking around, showing that there were no hard feelings from their earlier clash. Moments like that remind fans that football players often separate competition from personal relationships. During the game, they may treat each other like rivals, but off the field, there is often a strong sense of respect among professionals who understand the challenges of the sport. In the end, the battle between Sanders and Simmons didn't create enemies. Instead, it created respect between two competitors who both understood exactly what it takes to survive in the NFL. The game between the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans revealed something important about rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders. It wasn't just about stats or highlights, it was about mentality. Standing toe-to-toe with a veteran defender like Jeffery Simmons and refusing to back down showed the kind of confidence NFL leaders respect. Even Simmons admitted the young quarterback has the mindset to become a star. Moments like this are often where reputations begin to grow in the league. If Sanders continues playing with that same fearless energy, the NFL might soon realize that his rise is only just beginning.